Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request. This time for Jonathan. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of reviews or topics, commentaries, re-reviews, video game playthroughs, what have you, I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. Just send it either directly to my PayPal, usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. If you do send with PayPal, make sure to click on the family, friends, that type of option. Seems like PayPal works better when you do it that way. But yeah, I'm getting ready to do a commentary on Pixels, which is interesting because I can't remember the last time I saw this film. I can flat out tell you I'm not a fan of this movie. I find this film to be very disappointing because I think it's a cool concept. Take Ghostbusters, but have video game characters. But you have a dull script. You have an unfunny, lazy Adam Sandler that's one shy away from Bernie, from Weekend at Bernie's. He's so lifeless. Video games that don't even follow the rules of the games. Josh Gad being an annoying twat waffle. And Chris Columbus, what are you doing, man? You did Home Alone, Adventures of Babysitting Mrs. Doubtfire, and I see none of you. I just see a lame Happy Madison production in the era of That's My Boy, Grown Ups 2, where the CGI deer pissing Adam Sandler's face at the beginning of that movie. Here you have Hubert having turned to a girl video game character, having sex with Josh Gad and having Hubert babies. That's like the hook at the end to leave the audience happy or laughing, I guess. And oh, here's the big joke: Kevin James is the president of the United States. So 3, 2, 1, pressing play. For syncing, we have the Sony, which they were in some dire straits at this time, 2015. This is the era we had the Sony leaks, remember? Because Sony got hacked. I think during those leaks, there was like emails saying, pretty much, listen, we know Adam Sandler films have sucked, but they make some money, but they're not making any more money, so why are we making more movies with this goofball? To that extent, it seemed like that's what those emails were saying about Adam Sandler. And then quickly, soon after, he was going to Netflix. Happy Madison. I love Happy Gilmore. I love Billy Madison. I like The Waiting Scener. I like Bulletproof from 1996. I liked Anger Management. But this is the 1492. I think that's more Chris Columbus's company. That's his name, Columbus. Christopher Columbus. Now, there was a short film, I want to say 2010 or so. It was short, but it was interesting. Video game characters invading the world. And because it's a short film, pretty much they just pawn all these other characters for these arcade games, destroying the city and ultimately the world. It's a fun short film. And while it's not the most original idea, it's trying to do a vein of Ghostbusters. Yes, they're Ghosts video. But I like that. I like video games. I love Ghostbusters. I'm fine with movies that are not 100% original as long as you make them entertaining popcorn fare. But this wasn't the case. Adam Sandler was and Happy Madison, they were the wrong choice for this. Because it didn't feel like their heart was in it. It felt like, oh, this seems like a big box office payday, which it wasn't. In fact, for what I understand, it lost a lot of money. Just Happy Madison were the wrong guys. Adam Sandler, Kevin James. Do you really think these guys give a shit about video games and all that stuff? No. Like even Ghostbusters, you had Dan Aykroyd who was obsessed with that paranormal stuff. As you had writing from the initial core was strong enough to have it grow into very talented people being involved. While here, Chris Columbus, it's not like he's been breaking out hits. Maybe the Harry Potter films before this. 2 of them. So this guy's being good at Pac-Man because there's a pattern to the movement. It's the first time playing it. What is he, the Wizard? Remember that movie, The Wizard? Which I know was an advertiser for Nintendo and Super Mario Bros. 3. Because you have the song Surrender, Surrender. To be fair, some of Adam Sandler films does have some catchy soundtracks. Even That's My Boy, which I hated, that had a catchy soundtrack. And this Chewbacca mask will be later because Kevin James wears it. And I know there's some deleted stuff because there's a bit, maybe it was editing, but a Smurf gets shot on like a green floor that looked like circuitry, and then it's like Kevin James shot it, and he mentions it, and that's not in the movie at all. It's in the marketing, some of the marketing. And here's Josh Gad. With this beat up video game. Why they had to make up this video game and then have him be in love with a video game character and there's your product placement. Like a lot of Adam Sandler films, you see a lot of product placement. I was surprised those girls aren't wearing Hooters. I guess it's 1980. So that in the future would be Peter Dinklage. Just I think they picked the wrong cast. And again, they took a fun idea and they just put that Happy Madison rust all over it. Just like you said, when I go back and watch Adam Sandler films, Airheads, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, The Wedding Singer. Speaking of Ghostbusters, you got Dan Aykroyd there. I'm sure there's a shitload of fat toys of video games they got wrong in this. Look at 4 producers. 4 fucking producers. Including Adam Sandler. And Adam Sandler seems like a nice guy, but it's just, yeah, there's the short film, Patrick Jean. If I was Patrick, I'd be pissed off. Well, I'm sure if he got a paycheck, I'm sure he enjoys the paycheck. So maybe not that pissed. But I'm like, if this was done well, this could have been a franchise. Yeah, get more Yoo-hoo. Now, obviously, Peter Dinklage just... Billy Mitchell. Pretty much supposed to be like Billy Mitchell. Which you find out, in real life, Billy Mitchell might have cheated those scores. Same thing with here. And the way this guy cheats at Donkey Kong, I'm like, I don't know much about Donkey Kong. Even I go, there's no fucking cheat codes. You can't put cheat codes in arcade games like Donkey Kong. But they say, oh yeah, you put in cheat codes. This ain't fucking Game Genie. It's not Nintendo. As in you up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right, BA. Up, up, down, down. What, is he doing that on the fucking Donkey Kong? Up, up, down, down, left, right, B. They had a great soundtrack. We Will Rock You by Queen. As well as, oh, it's cool as Donkey Kong and, the visuals. And I say they do like a little bit orchestral version of We Will Rock You, which I know was used in some of the trailers. It's like trying to be an epic version of it. I like that. It's a good version of the song. I appreciate that. It's a good song and it's a nice touch on it. But on losing. It's not bad to come in second either. It's not like coming in second is the end of the world. Here we go. Now we got Adam Sandler, Kevin James. I know I was delayed there. They've been on screen for a bit, but this is another thing that's weird about this script. So if you're, they don't really, it doesn't feel like these guys were fans of video games. Okay, Adam Sandler's character played video games, but like he played Donkey Kong, no, Pac-Man. He played Pac-Man for the first time, and he was good at it. But you never get a sense that they were fans. Why does that matter? Because they just feel like strangers. They feel like how probably they are in real life, that they don't give a fuck. You don't get a sense that they care about the, like in the first Ghostbusters. And I'll compare to that since we have Dan Aykroyd earlier, and it's it's a film that would be compared to. Dan Aykroyd, you get a sense that his character really loves the paranormal. Same with Egon, and he knows that he's studying. You have one guy, Peter Venkman, who's kind of in it more for the fame and the money. But you have this contrast. Here, you have a guy who's good at video games for 5 minutes, and he grew up to be a loser. Because if you're into video games, quit that shit. Work for the Nerdmobile, which was kind of like Best Buy. Other places have this type of stuff. And this again shows how stupid they are. Kevin James just said, "You were good at video games, but that's a useless skill now." That shows how out of touch. And that's what I think. This was made by people who are out of touch with video games. They were out of touch with the subject matter. Because to say, if you're good at video games, that's a useless skill. You know how much money people make on YouTube alone? That they just play video games? Let alone Twitch? There are people that do video game tournaments. There are people that look at PewDiePie. Look at was it Disrespect? All these other guys that play video games and they make money off it. And there's like the people that do the speed runs and they make money for charity and they do these speed run little I don't know if I call them marathons, but there's these events, people who could do the best speed runs. I think there's video game tournaments. People play on teams and they make money, they get endorsements. And this is 2015. It's not like this was 2002 where Twitch wasn't a thing. So, again, just how out of touch they are. And then why was this kid tell his whole fucking life story to I was going to say the table man, but in a sense, a variation of a table man until the whole fucking story. Now this is Michelle Monaghan, who is a good actress. I liked her in this film called Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf. That's a film that is the smartest movie ever. No. Did you pick the plot apart? Logically, yes. But as a popcorn B movie, I liked it. I liked Eagle Eye a lot as a dumb but fairly fun thriller sci-fi popcorn movie. I thought Shia LaBeouf and Michelle Monaghan did a good job here. On the flip side, Kevin James is playing Kevin James. He just happens to be the president, and that's supposed to be funny. And to me, it's more scary than funny. And Adam Sandler, again, he's like Terry Kaiser. We did a Bernie's after the character died. He just no life to him. No life to Adam Sandler's character. He's lifeless. He could give two shits to be in this movie. He could give two shits. He's more like, hey, I'm having fun. It's a big budget movie. We're getting paid. Hey, I'm with Kevin James. I'm with these guys here. I mean, the way Adam Sandler delivers his lines are just so lackadaisical. Crying out loud, man. And there have been other movies that have taken the Ghostbusters route. Evolution, directed by the late, great Ivan Reitman, who did Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Evolution's a fun one. Dave Duchovny, Orlando Jones, Sean William Scott. That's like if Ghostbusters, but it's with aliens. Ivan Reitman had the right cast, and that was a fun popcorn movie. Sadly, that bombed as well. But to me, it didn't deserve it. I think it's underrated. I actually have the Blu-ray right there. I'm looking at it right now. I was glad that I got a Blu-ray. I mean, I know she's sad, but you look at this place like this. Her closet is bigger than my room. Again, her closet is bigger than this fucking room. And it's like, okay, how do we set up these characters? The mom is crying in a closet, and Adam's kind of clumsily grabbing her. Now let's cut to this attack sequence. Seems very abrupt, almost random of a cutting sequence. Like, what? Why is this the way you set up these characters? And then make it seem like, hey, if you played video games well back in the day, you'll grow up to be a loser. Yeah, that's a great food for thought for people seeing your film who are probably video game fans. But that's the thought process you go into it? Your approach, I should say? And so now this mom is just telling her life story to, again, must be the cable guy and not Jim Carrey. But of course, there's a lot of things with Adam Sandler as the movies went on. is somehow he's got some hot co-star and they get together or they are together. Whether it be, of course, Drew Barrymore, let's see, Katie Holmes and Jack and Jill, Michelle Monaghan in this movie, Jennifer Aniston and Just Go With It, Selma Hayek in Grown Ups 1 and 2. I'm trying to think of who else. Not all, but a lot of times it's like, oh, I recognize her, like a familiar face. And no one cares. I mean, look at Adam's acting. Sorry, I thought we were having a moment. Sorry, how's it going? Can we play basketball now? We done? I want to play some basketball now. Now that's something he is passionate about. I mean, when you watch a film like Hustle, you just see his performance in Hustle. He gives a shit because he loves basketball. He loves playing basketball, watching basketball. That's his passion. And Hustle I thought was okay. I liked the film, but Adam Sandler was good in it. You just see his give a shitness, so to speak. Here, he does not care one iota in this movie. He has as much excitement as someone paying taxes. And now what, Adam Sandler's getting mad that she didn't kiss him when they met 20 minutes ago? 30 minutes ago within the time of the timeline? So now Adam Sandler's theater getting mad that, yeah, I was kind of sad because I got a text from my husband or whatever. And you're like, well, you don't want to kiss me now. I guess you're stalking Miss Doctorton. How's this character's a douchebag? Fucking asshole. And then we're supposed to buy Kevin James as the President of the United States. Anytime I see Kevin James, he's not on. I mean, we saw him before, but not yet. Is this how it is with the presidency? They just have a gate with two guards? I mean, I guess, I mean, I don't know what else I'm expecting to be fair on it. But yeah, the anytime I think of Kevin James, I know this is not right to say, but it's because I don't care. I'm going to say it. If Chris Farley was alive, he'd be getting these roles. I strongly believe that. If Chris Farley had gotten his head on straight, cut the drugs, he would have finished that film Shrek, done other movies. I think later in his career, he would have done these movies with Adam. Hey, Adam's being successful. Come join me and let's have fun. Chris Farley is the president. How funny would that be? Chris Farley doing these antics in Grown Ups. Grown Ups 2. Chris Farley is Paul Blart Mall Cop. Which honestly, if Chris Farley was that actually would have been maybe a funny movie. I so would have preferred Chris Farley and Paul Blart Mall Cop than Tim James. At most, I'm indifferent to him. If some days you ask me, I would go, I'm not a big fan. Other days I don't, I'm indifferent. If I'm being fair, there are movies that I don't think he's funny in. I don't even think he's that funny in this movie. But if I'm being fair without being overzealous, I would say in all truthfulness, I'm indifferent to Kevin James. I don't hate him. There's a lot of people I dislike more in terms of acting and comedy. Just indifferent. I didn't. It just each time I see him, I just think, Chris Farley. Chris Farley would have played this role. Now that's Brian Cox. Now the guy we saw growling, what's Gallagher? That's Brian Cox. He was Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter, that movie. The first appearance of Hannibal Lecter on screen. He was also Colonel Stryker in X-Men 2. And he's done a lot of stuff, Brian Cox. So now we're just into the bit exposition scene where we have to establish the characters. We have to establish how does Adam Sandler get involved with the president and all this other stuff. Yeah, sorry if sometimes I'm listening to the dialogue. It's like it's been a long while since I've seen this movie. A long time. It's at least been a few years. I might have seen like once when it came out. Once I might have reviewed re-reviewed this or something. And so this would be like maybe the third time I've seen this. So again, for those who are just listening to this and you're not following along, so the jokes is that he called one lady Gandalf and one guy Harry Potter. Called another guy Zac Efron, and he explained that on the screen it was Gallagher in the original version of Gallagher before it was recalled for glitches. And now here we have Josh Gad, who is one of the worst parts of this movie. One of the worst. I am so surprised this is not someone like one of Adam's friends. Whether it be David Spade, Rob Schneider, hell, even Chris Rock, any of those guys. Nick Swardson, which he does appear later in like a bit role. All I now remember of Josh Gad is when he went and he did the. Remember he was doing those Zoom reunions of like movies, in particular the 80s. He's getting all these people together to do these reunions on Zoom, especially during the pan to the D to the Mick. And so the joke is that he was going to chloroform Adam Sandler's character. which, I mean, we don't do that when he was driving. I guess when, why wouldn't you try to do that right when he got in? Well, actually, when he got in, he's leaving the White House. I guess you don't wait till he stopped. Whatever. So now we have his lair, his booger lair. Big old booger lair with all of his conspiracy theories, as well as If She Was Real, a book where he and this fictional lady kiss and make out. I mean, think about this. This is where it showcases the, quote, nerds. One becomes a dull loser who is lifeless, has no girlfriend, no life, no anything, works at a dead-end job. The other is this conspiracy ladled guy living with his grandma, obsessed with a fictional video game character. And the joke is that he's screaming at his grandma, because he lives with his grandma, and he's a fucking freakazoid loser, freaky chimpanzee loser. And again, he's obsessed with a video game character. And again, either you become this guy, or you become the dullard, played by Adam Sandler. But if you're not any of those guys, you do become the president of the United States, like Kevin James, because who's the guy who didn't give a shit about video games? Except the little claw thing. Kevin James. He became the president. Now, is this the worst comedy ever? No. Is this the worst Adam Sandler film ever? I would put it in my top 10 just because I think it's a cool idea for a fun, dumb B-movie. And it's wasted. Again, Happy Madison was the wrong group to partake in this. They just were. They were the wrong take. I mean, hell, even you look at films like Jumanji in the 90s, and you look at Robin Williams, just look at the way Robin Williams approaches that role in that movie. With gusto. With... Robin Williams... It would be great to see Robin Williams in a role like this. It is interesting them here using these old footage of Madonna. How they rework the lips. That's definitely an interesting touch. I'd give it... So that's like one little touch I'll give. Like the soundtrack, some of the special effects sequences, little details like that. That's... Little bits like that's why I can't say this is the worst comedy ever. I mean, Ghostbusters 2016 is 10 times worse than this movie. Which is hilarious because critics, rightfully so, shit on this film, but they defended Ghostbusters 2016, and I'm sitting there going, if that very same film had Adam Sandler and Josh Gad, like, Josh Gad, Peter Dinklage, these four, Adam, Josh, Kevin James, and Peter Dinklage, and they were the Ghostbusters. And they shot a ghost in the dick. And there was, instead of a queefing joke, pussy fart joke, it was just a regular fart joke. That film would be annihilated just like this film was. But I think that film, Ghostbusters 2016, was more women are great than looking at the actual dog shit of the movie, in my opinion. And that's worse than this movie. But this... So here's the Taj Mahal. And we're going to the action scene here. Was it, is it pawn? Or not pawn. I keep saying pawn. It's, I always get confused. I always keep saying pawn. It's, I can't remember the fucking name. Arkanoid? Or was it maybe Arkanoid? Yeah, I think it's Arkanoid. Which is a cool visual, to be fair. But that's brief. Like, that took, what, 30 seconds? And the first 36 minutes. 30 seconds. If you wonder what I'm doing, I'm looking at the trivia here just to go through some of this stuff. Dan Aykroyd co-founded Cohen's Crystal Head Vodka, which the two main characters drink in the pub after the Centipede battle in England. Interesting. I'll have to keep watch for that. In earlier trailers, Kevin James on the mothership says, "Don't tell anybody I killed a Smurf." In later visuals of the trailer, the lines changed from "killed" to "pixelated." In the actual movie, the original line remains but said by Michelle Monaghan on the streets of D.C. Hey, Mr. Clean. I like this stuff here. It's like, okay, now we're in the realm of being even more overly goofy. Like, you have this guy with a fucking cyber head in the back of his head. Let's see, I'm looking through this. The original short film Pictures was in 2010. Jennifer Aniston turned down the role of this character. I think it's something about a scheduling issue. This was Adam Sandler's last theatrically released film, so I think this was around the time the Sony leak came. Number one, this film bombed. Number two, those leaks didn't really say Adam Sandler in a nice light. The most expensive live-action Adam Sandler film. And sadly, a lot of laziness in the humor. In real life, Josh Gad is actually 15, 16 years younger than Adam Sandler and Kevin James. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because it looks like they're almost the same age. Maybe like 2 years difference. But you see how much younger Josh Gad is compared to Sandler. I mean, Josh Gad looks like he could be Adam Sandler's kid. Now here's Josh Gad trying to do his fucking wannabe funny routine. Yelling Mosby gibberish. Adam Sandler's last theatrical release film until Uncut Gems. Women, Baby, Man, People. And I'm sure people are wondering, what the fuck are you puking out of that mouth of yours? When you Magina poop your pants. In the short film, pictures fly over Manhattan where it releases the various games. Space Invaders starts to shoot downwards. Pac-Man, Tetris, Arkanoids, Donkey Kong, Frogger. This is another mistake they made with this, is they do it where these tests happen, where there's a lot of lollygagging in between. When you look at Ghostbusters, it didn't really feel that way. Like there's a build, like you're introduced to the characters. But I mean, the first scene, you have the ghost that attacks, and we get the victim's point of view. What they're going through, I should say. Then we're introduced to the characters with much funnier, wittier dialogue, and people who look like they give a shit to be there, and they look passionate about it. Then it's either a well-done romance between Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver, like this here. What the fuck is this going to do to train people? Like, playing video games would not fucking do anything to help you out in this situation. Because if it's Asteroid, they're coming at you. Playing a video game and doing this is not going to... Oh, get a gun. You gotta shoot it. That's different. It's funny, Asteroids never even comes into play, so all this training is for uselessness. Because Asteroids never comes into fruition. Even like the Galaga thing. Okay, they get a gun, but you have to train yourself to shoot a gun. Aiming a gun to hit your target is a lot different than moving a joystick. Now, if the aliens set something up where they have to stand here, and they visualize, like, there's the creatures, there's the vehicle there, and then you gotta move this entire big thing. And if it gets down, it's going to destroy this part, so the states are raised. And you're moving it, so you gotta move it like a video game, but real life is at stake. That would make more sense to what his story is showcasing. Yeah, imagine Alien puts in a stand, joystick. You move it just like an arcade machine. But again, real life, real people, real cities are in danger. So maybe someone get through and buildings get destroyed, cars get destroyed. You don't want people to get hurt, but you move in here and there. Instead, it's get a gun and aim and make sure you hit it. Adam Sandler and Josh Gad, where have they trained how to aim a fucking gun, let alone the electric, whatever, the light gun, whatever the hell the gun is, the light gun, whatever the hell it is. But it's not the case. Again, and then if you ask that question, people go, oh, that's stupid, you're overthinking it. Yeah, movies that were, well, not all the time, but to have some kind of internal logic, despite how ridiculous it is, can help. Even evolution had that, where there's an evolution to the species, where it goes from here and they get bigger, and they get more different type of monsters and creatures, but they can't survive too long in the air. They gotta adapt. That's why they haven't taken over the world already. And there's some internal logic in there. And oh, what are they made of? They're made of, was it silicon? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. Of course, you have Sean Bean, one of the few films he does not get killed in. Same with Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2 Revelations. Because he gets killed in a lot of stuff, he doesn't in those in this one. So here we are. Sorry if you're wondering, I was just listening. Okay, these guys are out there with guns. I guess you could say at least these guys. It would make sense if these guys, the soldiers, would do it. Just maybe they don't know about video games, but they learn about what the goal is. The patterns, how your enemy moves, the goal. And then they know how to shoot. It's just the planning they need to know about. So maybe that would make sense in that front. What I was talking about before is that ultimately the soldiers fail and it's up to Adam Sandler and this fucking oh, it's a centipede? Not delegate, centipede, right? Like, it would make more sense, but like Adam Sandler and Josh Gad have to take over. I'm like, how the hell do they know how to shoot and aim? Not everybody can do that. Like, these guys should be able to. It should have been about like two soldiers who are rejects. You know what would have been funny? This is a crazy idea. Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, they're aging soldiers, but they played video games. They were big video games fans back in the day. And they're over the hill. And, these guys are over the hill. And, yeah, I know a little bit about video games. What is that, 70s thing? A little bit more the 80s thing. And then you get Arnold and Sly just working together, but a type of comedy that would work. Plus you get the action component. That would have been more satisfying than this. But yeah, now Adam Sandler knows how to shoot guns. Because moving a joystick is the same as moving a gun like this. Okay, now that the soldiers know what he did, why can't they shoot? And you can't tell me none of these soldiers know any. You tell me none of these soldiers know anything about video games. And it just seems like a random song to choose. Like, it would have been cool to have, like, Dare from Transformers the movie. Dare to believe you can survive. Instead, just sort of a random, everybody's worked here for the weekend. Like, why this song? I don't mind the song, but it just seems very random to pick. Imagine, dare to believe you can survive. The future's in your hands. Dare to believe. But hey, for some reason we gotta have everybody's working for the weekend. It seems more like just ego stroking for Adam Sandler. Ego stroking for Adam Sandler's character. Like a lot of this era of films. By the way, did we ever see his character play Centipede? Maybe very, very briefly. Now, this is kind of some cool visuals. I kind of like some of these visuals. One of the few chuckles I got is this object doing this. Of course, the old woman, for some reason, doesn't hear any of this. And all this other stuff. This kid is so fucking stupid. He's just like, I'm just gonna die. Fucking idiot. I'm the guy gonna shoot you in the face. And it's always putting down the idea of, I'm just a guy that for some reason is good at video games, as if that's such an awful thing to be, and it's embarrassing, and I know it's embarrassing. The idea, the notion is embarrassing, but it's working now. Again, oh, there's the Dan Aykroyd vodka. There's the Dan Aykroyd vodka. Wonder if there was a deal like Dan's like, I'll do your film, but yeah, show my vodka. All the time you wasted with that stuff when we were kids. Again, it just belittles video gamers subconsciously or what? Without notice, without. Again, this whole thing of just, how do I put it? Oh, if you're a video gamer, you're a loser. Again, out of touch is by people who are out of touch. You know the old back to the day where you have the phrase, or not the phrase, but the vibe of Huey Lewis at the beginning of Back to the Future. Hold it, stop. That music's just too darn loud. Like, oh, these kids and their video games. So we have this video. So now we have Peter Dinklage as pretty much a mini version of Billy Mitchell. These characters are just not that entertaining to watch. You compare it to even David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, and Shailene Scott, and the three of them, and Evolution, let alone Ghostbusters. It just doesn't work, man. It really doesn't. So now Peter Dinklage has demands. Which, hell, that was done funnier in Armageddon when people had their demands. They don't want to pay taxes anymore. Ever. Oh, they did the tax joke here, too. Which, hell, I mean, Armageddon did that fucking joke. Oh, yeah, I'm sure they'll give you a stealth attack helicopter. Sorry, I'm not saying anything. I'm just... This is how I felt watching this. Just kind of defeated, going, what a waste. What a waste of a fun idea. Like an hour. And we've had a 30-second Arkanoid Taj Mahal scene. The centipede scene, where is they're shooting in a montage and they chase someone. They chase one through a apartment, motel, apartment, wherever the fuck that building was. Here we go, Nick Swardson for his cameo. Adam Sandler's buddy. For some reason, God put him in so many fucking things. Is he wearing a Costco? Oh no. Now how the fuck did you make these so damn quickly? So somehow they made these cars this fucking quickly? I guess the thought is that they try to plan all arcade games. Does that mean they made something for asteroids? That's this thing. Is there a ship like the last Starfire that goes around in a circle or something? Obviously not the actual creator of Pac-Man. Just shut up, dude. He's like, what the fuck are you saying? Shut up. For some reason, the guy who created Pac-Man is talking like a stereotypical, what you mean, bitch? Almost says, you sure it's not Diddy Watanabe? What's happening, that stuff? I'm not going to be the PC police on that. I just think it's weird that the creator of Pac-Man, they're making him like that. You know, with all the respect they have for games, which they don't have. That's such a weird thing. Pac-Man's a bad guy. That's not the real Pac-Man. That's something made to... It's like a machine. It's not a... It's so weird, like they... It's not the actual Pac-Man. Like, it's not the actual fucking thing, man. Like... I'm so weird they just view it like that. Now this right here, there's a movie that was made in 1989 that it's almost beat for beat this scene, called Moontrap, with Walter Koenig from Star Trek. He played Chekhov, Bruce Campbell, who's Ash in the Evil Dead films. There's a scene where you have this big haunting robotic alien creature in the hallway, and a scientist goes up saying this similar stuff of, we're in peace, give us a sign. It wounds him, and he goes, get that son of a bitch. It gets out of the way, and then the shit hits the fan. While here, instead wounds him in a different way, and he says, somebody kill. And Moontrap is, get that son of a bitch. Here, kill this stupid thing. Now, I'm not saying this ripped off Moontrap, because Moontrap is a little seen film, sadly. It's an underrated film. But that, again, I'm like, wow, I was reminded of a better movie that almost the same fucking scene. So as it goes, they're chasing Pac-Man. I just the idea, instead of eating pellets, he's eating all these things are in his way. I mean, is that true? Pac-Man being faster than the ghost? I, I mean, I don't know if that's the case. I said I don't know if that's the case, but okay. Now, I just to kind of, what the fuck happened there on the computer screen? The Michelle Monaghan is. It went this. How the fuck is that the case? Like, again, you see the computer screen of Pac-Man, that Michelle Monaghan, and Peter Dinklage's car went, phew, phew. Like, phew, phew. Number one, you can't do that in any version of Pac-Man back in the day. Number two, in real life, what? In real life, he teleported in real life, or went like his car went the Flash. See, it does this stuff, and it doesn't fucking. And actually, there should be more shots like this where you're up top. Like there should be a whole like a bit where you're up top and you're seeing it like a Pac-Man screen, and you see like the car, like you have the camera go by the buildings up top with us looking down. You see Pac-Man going here, and they're trying to make it, and can we cut them off here, and have it play out like you would see a Pac-Man game. But they never thought of doing that type of shot. Like a full bit of, you follow, there's the building here, building here, kind of reminiscent of the Pac-Man world, and you see it going on this, and we're following on the camera, we're on this looking down bird's eye view. No. Like very briefly for like a few seconds. Again, just make it generic. So Peter Dinklage got Pac-Man twice. Oh yeah, Michelle Monaghan goes, how did he get there so fast? Apparently there were... Don't we find out later that there are cheat codes to Pac-Man? Again, people that don't know what the fuck, they don't know what the fuck anything about this. It's just one of those like, what? Again, to make this action sequence even more interesting and change it up a bit, I didn't have one chase scene. If there's 3 times Pac-Man needs to be killed, have one of them be the entire bit, the bird's eye view, like a Pac-Man game, like how you would view it. At least one of them. Again, that would make it more interesting, more... what's the word I'm looking for? More variety, more... I'm trying to think of the word I wanted to say. The variety is another word for variety. Like this, I kind of liked the idea of him memorizing the time it takes for Pac-Man to not be powerful anymore. I mean, the visual look of Pac-Man chasing someone through all this garage. I mean, it's a cool visual. That's a cool visual. And then Pac-Man exploding like that. Yeah, the sound effect of Pac-Man dying. Like, that's a cool moment. But sadly not in a cool movie at all. What a generic sounding score, too. Such a generic, blasé musical score. And there's Q-Bert. And it's also weird that Tubert has, how do I put it? The Tubert seems to have a mind of its own, but everything else has this mindless drone, we follow whatever they say mentality, except Tubert. As if Tubert's the only creature in video game arcade history to have a brain or any ability to think for itself. Some may argue because it's a trophy, but they say one of our warriors. So one of our warriors, we're going to give you a trophy, but he's going to have a mind of his own. I don't know. That's a piece of humor. A bunch of reporters asking the president, and one person saying something, and all the reporters going, you. How about fuck you. And why does this guy have a goddamn robot brain? Okay, this is The Last of Us. If you think if you think The Last of Us is the most violent video game, man, don't let him play Doom or fucking any of those survival horror games. Resident Evil, Silent Hills, all that shit. So I didn't, for some reason they thought Cuber saying bull crap was funny. And they made Hubert an annoying fucking dipshit who I think, isn't there a scene where he pisses himself? Again, I'm not saying Hubert is a favorite video game character of mine. I'm just saying, okay, he's a recognizable video game character, and you have him pissing. You have him turn to a woman and have sex with Josh Gad. I'm gonna take these headphones off for this bit because I don't. This relationship bit here, there is no. Well, the president's Kevin James is there with his wife. There is no chemistry between these characters. None at all. And that's the thing is that you get maybe a slim amount of excitement when it comes to the video game stuff, which an hour and 14 minutes has pretty much been, well, technically I guess 4 pieces. One was 30 seconds long. Well, actually, no, 3. The 30-second Arachnoids, the Centipede, and the Pac-Man. In an hour and 15 minutes, and we have 30 minutes left. 33 minutes left, and that also includes the end credits. Again, Adam Sandler and Michelle Monaghan do not have any chemistry. at all. And I don't think it's Michelle Monaghan's fault, but Adam Sandler, it just, in this era, well, of comedy and comedy roles, it feels like he doesn't feel like he has nothing else to prove. Because I guess at this point, think about it. For a while, he was the top guy. Each film he would make over $100 million. He's probably one of the richest comedians out there. Multi-million, probably has multiple houses. He could probably buy a fucking island. Maybe he has an island. I remember there's one interview. Oh, I make movies, just to see like what some nice vacation spots would be. So hey, I could do this film with Drew Barrymore and be in Africa, wherever. And again, Adam Sandler films have never been the high art. I agree. But again, Airheads and Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. The reason a lot of people mention Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore is just there was this energy. There's this pulsing energy with when a comedian, if they're successful at it, they want to make a big impression with their first couple movies. Because they want to make a stance of, here I am, hear me roar, I want to stay here, I want to show you that I'm not a flash in the pan, I want to prove that I'm funny, that other people will find me funny. So you looked at Eddie Murphy and 48 Hours, and then not too long later, Beverly Hills Cop. You looked at Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and films like Dumb and Dumber, between those two, The Mask. I'm talking about starring roles, because Jim Carrey had been in roles like Earth Girls Are Easy. I guess Once Bitten was a starring role, but there were other people in full Ace Ventura. Ace Ventura felt more like a starring role for him than Was Bitten, at least to me. Other, again, those ones with Adam Sandler, where he wasn't part of an ensemble piece. Like he was in a bit role in Coneheads, Airheads. He was part of an ensemble piece with Brendan Fraser and Steve Buscemi. Okay, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Chris Farley, Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, which I enjoy. I didn't feel it was Sleepwalker, quite the opposite. I think that's a pretty funny movie, Black Sheep. So these comedians, they come out and they want to make a stance, and then I think Adam Sandler, when his films are becoming so many hits, and there are films out there, like I mentioned, I mentioned after that, okay, I like Bulletproof, that flopped, but I think that's a bit underrated, with him and Damon Wayans. Ernest Dickerson, who directed Surviving the Game with Ice-T, he directed that. I enjoyed The Wedding Singer. Waterboy, I'm not big on, but I mean, I could watch. I go back and forth, but I'd rather watch that than this movie. Longest Yard, same, but I'd rather watch that than this movie. Punch Drunk Love was more dramatic, and that I liked. Mr. Deeds, I thought was harmless. That was Winona Ryder, the girl that he got with. And I didn't mind Mr. Deeds for what it was. I do see why people don't like it, but I can watch it. I'm trying to think. Anger Mandarin was around 2003, 2004, around there. I liked that one. I don't even mind You Don't Mess with the Zohan. Even the first Grown Ups I could watch. A lot of people don't. I can understand why, but I'm not an Adam Sandler hater. But after that, some would say before that, but especially after that, I just saw a lot more of him being complacent. All these films I did were hits. He had nothing, I just felt like, to prove comedic-wise. And then took these scripts and these jobs that just, there wasn't much to them. Jack and Jill was one of them. All these other movies. Oh, you find out like Peter Dinklage cheated. I'm trying to think in order. Like Jack and Jill, that was around what 2011 maybe. That's My Boy 2012. Uh, Pac-Man cheat code for super speed. What the fuck is that? What the fuck does that mean? There's no Pac-Man code for super speed. And how would that work in the real world? Like we would see people fucking then who the fuck wrote this movie? What idiots wrote this goddamn movie? But I was saying, what the hell was I saying? Oh, stupid fucking writing. But yeah, 2011 Jack and Jill, 2012 That's My Boy. I forget what was in 2013, but this is an era where between 2012, okay, 2015 was this movie. Grown Ups 2 was around this era. I'm trying to think what else. I feel like I'll just go with it. Was there Blended? That was one I was thinking of. Yeah, Blended with Drew Barrymore. A film where I think it was it one of Drew Barrymore's daughters? No, one of them had sons, one of them had daughters. Like Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler meet. They're strangers. They fall in love. One has boys. One has girls. One of the kids, like I want to say it's Adam Sandler, has daughters, and she has like what was it? I can't remember. One of them has like tea parties with their dead mom because she visualizes that her mom is still the fuck alive. But yet this is a comedy when that's like some psychological shit. Oh my god, this stuff. I wonder what the Netflix. It didn't get much better. Ridiculous Six, Hubie Halloween. The one I didn't mind was The Do-Over with him and David Spade. I didn't mind that one. And then when he does drama, Uncut Gems, and even Hustle, to me that's where Adam Sandler should go more towards. So now we get these video game characters. There's Paperboy, but a lot of these you see once and you never really see again. And that's another thing. Like, okay, we got the video game characters. You see them very, very briefly, and then okay, here's Joust. Here's some of the characters from Joust. There's Frogger there. I forgot it was a Robotron or something. But you see them briefly and then nothing else. Tetris. A couple nice little visual cues. Just a bit late when we have like 20 some minutes left of the movie. So we got Frogger. And even if you want to go, okay, don't worry about the rules of the games, just blast video game characters. I don't know, just showcase more of that. More of that stuff. Like maybe like Oh, maybe video game characters are destroying stuff, and then I don't know, they're thrust into these scenario. I don't know. If you're asking me like, how would you do the film? I don't know. I'd give me some time to think about it. Now, with Smurfs, yeah, in the trailer, Kevin James said, "Don't tell anyone I killed a Smurf," and it looked like they were in a different area. That's why I wonder if there were any reshoots. There's Jumpman, aka Mario. There's Paperboy. But like maybe a survival story, like it's about this group of people. They had journey amongst this 90-minute regime going on the city, where they're traversing through the city, and there's all these ups and downs with these video game characters you gotta defeat and take care of. Now, why does she look three-dimensional and everything else looks pixelated? She was pixelated for like 10 seconds, but why is she now look like just a regular human? Because it's cheaper to have two people fight than have her fully pixelated into a fight. Because it's cheaper that way. That's why. Even though none of the others are full 3D, how you want to put it. It doesn't matter if it makes no sense. Just do it. Max Headroom. I would say it's interesting to have Max Headroom there. There's probably a lot of people that didn't know who the fuck this was. They'd be like, who the hell is this thing? Matt's Headroom was Matt Frewer, who was he was in Honey I Shrunk the Kids. The kids that lived next door, the neighbors, their dad was played by Matt Frewer. He was in this Ken Wall film called The Take Care of Beverly Hills. He's been in a few other stuff. He was the guy in the Dawn of the Dead remake who was the father who was sick and they had to end his life. But he wasn't in the film too long. And there was these, I think, Coca-Cola commercials in the 80s, and they had Max Headroom, like this VR figure sell Coca-Cola. At times, he'd be like, bit, bit, bit. Had these little glitches as he's talking during the commercials. I guess he proved such a popular campaign that because of that, they had like a very short-lived TV show. But it was definitely a pretty popular back in the day. And for some reason now, this one turned to a good guy. Which, if Tuber and this one can, how about the others? Can the others turn to good guys? And can the other characters become good guys then? Like Frogger or Paperboy or something like that? Now maybe be one of those things like, hey, hey, Paperboy, you want real newspapers? Or here's some magazines. Or something. Is this where... I think coming up is where Tuber pisses himself. Does he have the Donkey Kong? Which even this doesn't go by the rules because he could just throw the fucking hammer. I'm like, if you don't say there are rules, then say there are rules, or don't say there are rules. Again, you could play Donkey Kong as well as you can. Doesn't mean you can fucking jump over barrels and climb as fast as you can. Like, actually dodging barrels and jumping over them is a different skill than playing fucking Donkey Kong with a goddamn... Yeah, that's where he pisses. There you go. I was wondering when that was coming. Maybe at the end of the day, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this would never have made a good movie. Maybe it would have just stayed as a short film. Maybe I'm wrong and there's no way you could have made this a good movie. Maybe that's the case. Jump. But how can anyone jump over that fucking barrel? Because again, apparently playing Donkey Kong means you could do this shit. I just, the whole point is you know the rules to do it. But to have the actual physical ability to do it, that's something different. But okay, well, don't worry about that. Just don't worry about that shit. I don't know, it just makes it seem like... I don't know. Didn't really need to be these characters at all doing this. I mean, is it really... I mean, are we really supposed to assume that so many people would not know what the fuck Donkey Kong these characters are? And these games are easy to figure out. Donkey Kong. You jump over barrels, you get to the top. Pac-Man. Gobble the giblets, eat the ghost when you can. God. Like, that wide shot is cool. That's a cool wide shot to show all the barrels, the pixelated stuff. I like the Queen song. I like the cover of the song they do. Not cover, but reworked in the music. You have the Freddie Mercury Queen, but they add a bit additional music to it. I like that version. Like, we heard this before when he's playing the actual Donkey Kong. And like, they're already at the top so fucking easily. They should have maybe made that more, I don't know, more actual suspense. Will he get to the top in time? Will he reach this part or that part? Like, they're just at the top waiting. Now they do some stuff here. It's a weird line reading. Grab onto my mighty hammer. I mean, really, to beat this, you would get to the top and win. But, I mean, I get this is more cinematic. I understand it. It's more cinematic to actually do this. I get that. But then don't make it where some of it is you gotta go by the rules. Like, they make it a point where you cheated. You use a code. Well, in this case, by their... What? Not even moral, but... You gotta beat it the right way, but he didn't beat it the right way that way either, so I don't know. Shows how little I give a fuck when I'm talk to semantics on a goddamn movie like this. Because the writers don't give a fuck. They thought the video game spectacle would automatically garner big box office dollars. It didn't. I think honestly a lot of people saw that it was Adam Sandler and they went, nah. And that's why when you make a lot of crap, it hurts your... It definitely hurts you in the long run. Because then it makes you go, well, I saw that guy's last 3 movies. I wasn't a fan. I don't want to go see this. Or, God, Adam Sandler, did he do that movie where he was dressed as a girl and played his own sister? Wait, didn't he do a movie where, as a kid, he had sex with a teacher and the teacher had his baby? And then there was a movie where a guy came on a dress and a brother and sister were fucking each other? Yeah, wait a minute, was that the guy that did this movie where a CGI deer pissed in his face? I can't remember Grown Ups 2 was before or after this. But that's what I mean. When was Grown Ups 2? I'll look that up real quick. So it was before this, 2013. And why the fuck would Cuber do this? And why the fuck would Josh Gad accept it? Well, obviously that's supposed to be the big joke, is that he does this and people comment on it. And that's the big joke. It just comes off as creepy and weird and not funny. That's the thing. It just comes off as creepy and weird. I mean, yeah, I did. Adam Sandler says, is anyone weirded out like this? Yeah, I am, but that still makes it weird and creepy. But this is the sense of humor these guys... Okay, Adam Sandler. 2011, Jack and Jill. 2012, That's My Boy. 2013, Grown Ups 2. 2014, Blended. 2015, this movie. And The Ridiculous Six. The week of was a very boring movie with Adam Sandler and Chris Rock. A lot of these are like films he executive produced for his buddies to be in. This other stuff I don't know. Oh, Leo, that's an animated film on Netflix that came out. Spaceman. Sci-fi drama. Okay, this is interesting. Spaceman 2024, a sci-fi drama. That's why it interests me, a drama. As an astronaut sent to the edge of the galaxy to collect mysterious ancient dust, he finds his earthly life falling to pieces. He turns to the only voice who can help him try to put it back together. It just so happens to belong to a creature from the beginning of time, lurking in the shadows of his ship. Sorry, I know you got the credits here, but not yet. We got the gist of the joke here. He had tuber babies. So the guy directing that Spaceman movie worked on that TV show Chernobyl, which someone had requested me to review a couple episodes, and they were pretty good. He didn't ask for more, so I didn't watch the rest of it, but They were pretty good. The Chernobyl. That could be interesting. So pretty much we now have a pixelated version of the events that happened throughout the film of this piece of shit movie. It's still disappointing to say the least, man. And it's so weird, like, with arcade video game stuff, you don't. I mean, they mention. They mention asteroids, but nothing of asteroids happens. Space invaders. Nothing happens with Space Invaders. Well, I guess it wouldn't be arcade, but I was going to say like Pitfall Harry and stuff. Missile Command. Nothing with Missile Command. I was going to say Pawn as well. I mean, I guess they can't put every arcade, but it's just Galaga. You barely saw what happened with the Galaga stuff. The Arkanoid stuff was 30 seconds long. It was Centipede, Pac-Man, and then the finale with Donkey Kong. It's like the gist of the plot. It's like, hey, we have this big scene with Pac-Man, which is in all the marketing. It was a big part of the trailer. It was a big part of the posters. Any poster you see of this film, it's that big Pac-Man. Which makes sense. Pac-Man is an iconic character, but it's just... That seems to be... We don't make this film because we're going to have a big chase scene with Pac-Man chasing our heroes. Okay, let's don't make it. Regardless of putting this stupid fucking female video detail we made up for this lame joke where he fucks it and has tuber babies. Like, grown-ass people thought this was a good idea. Grown-ass people thought... Look, Adam Sandler had 3 assistants. Why the fuck do you have 3 goddamn assistants? You wonder why these movies cost so much goddamn money. Do you need 3 assistants? For what? He was such a dull, lifeless person in this movie. What the fuck would you need 3 goddamn assistants for? To do what? To do what? To do what? Maybe Diz basketball shoes. I still hate this fucking movie. I still think it fucking sucks ass. I still think it's a piece of shit. I'm still not a fan of it. I hate this fucking movie. I really do. And it did not get better watching it again. It got worse. I hate it. I hate it. It insults video gamers. It says if you are into video games, you're going to grow up to be a loser, a dullard like Adam Sandler, or a paranoid living in their grandma garage, whatever the hell it was, obsessed with a female video game character to an obnoxious stalker degree. And if you're not into video games, you'll become the president of the United States. And all these little snide remarks about video games. Oh, it was such a useless talent. Yeah, that people make millions of dollars doing nowadays. And it's not funny. At the end of the day, it's a comedy that wasn't funny. If you find Hubert pissing funny, Hubert fucking Josh Gad and having tuber babies, Adam Sandler's zilch, nada chemistry, Michelle Monaghan. Maybe there's a couple set pieces you see, some scant minutes of eye candy. Pac-Man bit and the Centipede bit, the Donkey Kong bit. I like the version of the Queen "We Will Rock You" music. I liked some moments during the Centipede and Pac-Man battle moments. And in terms of the special effects, I like the look of the special effects of the video game characters. Peter Dinklage was irritating. Josh Gad was obnoxious. Michelle Monaghan had nothing much there on the screenplay. Just to be the love interest. Adam Sandler was lifeless. You could tell he did not give a fuck doing this movie. He did not give a flying fuck. Can we play basketball now? That's what he was thinking the entire goddamn time. They say it's a big budget movie and there's going to be a lot of downtime. He probably had a fucking basketball court put in. So he just shoot some hoops. Fine, I would do some video game stuff. Shoot some hoops. I'm sure if you talked to people who made this film, they'd be like, oh, it was such a great time. Maybe it was a great time. Sadly, not for the viewer. Maybe the guy who made the short film, hey, I got paid money and it wasn't my fault. I will say, if somehow that guy who made the short film is pissed off about this movie, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it. If somehow that guy, Patrick Jean, if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. If somehow, in the 1 in a million shot that you somehow see this, you somehow give a shit to find this video, and you somehow gave a fuck to get to the end of this video, and somehow you decide you don't have to make fun of the people involved with the movie, but just voice frustration, let me know. I'd love to have you on. So, in other words, that will never ever happen. But it just... yeah. One of the worst films I saw from 2015. Easily. Although still not as bad as Ghostbusters 2016. Is this... which would I rather watch? This or Ghostbusters Afterlife? I'd rather watch this, just Afterlife. The whole just copying the first movie. And then what they did with, like, bring back Harold Ramis to have a manipulative tearjerker scene. I know his family approved of it, but to me it still felt really gross. It was done for pure manipulation. I know people will feel otherwise. I don't. Call me cynical. Or call me realistic. I don't know. Call me a realist. I don't know. But that's just my take on it. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Fuck this movie. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.